Hello, and welcome to the Blue Pencil Sessions. This is where we take a look at some of your pages and offer you our thoughts and feedback. I'm Eileen Cook, and I'm here today with my colleague, Donna, and we are taking a look at part 2 of a short story, Galactic Melody. Now, I'm going to start over with Donna because you did not have a chance to see part 1. So jumping in the middle without knowing part 1, what sort of things stuck out for you?
Okay, yeah, that I didn't realize. I apologize. I didn't realize that part 1 had been submitted and already done. So a couple of things. One is I'm really intrigued by the whole concept. So the premise of the story that he has to sing, I'm assuming the character is a man. Maybe I'm not assuming, maybe we already know that. But is it a man character?
You know, I don't remember.
Huh, okay.
And I think that may have been one of the things in the earlier one is we don't really have much of a sense of the main character in terms of like a name and other things as well.
Yeah, and so that was one of the things, the premise really spoke to me, but I never connected with this character, and it's possible it's just because I haven't read the first part, but there was a couple of a specific place here, for instance, towards the end. The character says, "I was on the edge of madness. It didn't matter to her. She brought me inside her ship and she cured me." For me, I wanted to know, what does being on the edge of madness look and feel like to this character? And then, because being cured in 3 sentences felt like really abrupt to me. How does she cure you? I understand that she sung life into you, but what does that look and feel like? How does healing from the edge of madness look and feel? Because, like I said, the premise is so compelling to me, but I just never felt like I was able to get into that place where I could feel what the character was feeling, and I wanted to. That said, when we get to the very end, the last 2 sentences, she was our savior, and we decided we would honor her memory by calling our reborn species by her name. We call ourselves elves. I teared up when I read that the first time. I thought that was really touching to me. So I really wanted to do more than tear up. I wanted to really feel that, because I know I could if I knew the character a little better. That's me.
And I'm going to jump in and say I absolutely loved the ending as well, in particular because of having this idea of the origin story of elves coming from space, which I think is just something at least I'm not familiar with. So I really liked that kind of crossover between fantasy and science fiction. And I thought that worked really well. And I'm going to echo, actually, Donna, your thoughts is, I think what's missing from this piece for me is that emotional connection. And so I'm actually just going to pick the line that you talked about, Donna, and kind of drill into it a little bit. So you talked about the idea of madness, right? And I was descending into madness. So talking about feeling like maybe your thoughts are fraying, or parts of your body are disassociating, or you're too hot or you're too cold. Like, what does madness, as you know, Donna's saying, what is it feeling like? And then maybe grounding us, like we come into the ship. How is the ship different than where this character's been imprisoned? So is it clean? Is it the first air that's been smelled that smells of, you know, something, or maybe, thank God, it smells of nothing after a period of time of the kind of thing. And the healing, is it like warmth? Or is it, you know, I felt the phrase of my sanity knitting back together, making a fabric of reality out of what hadn't been there.
How do you do that?
I don't know. That just came to me. But just those kinds of things where I felt distant from what was happening because I wasn't emotionally sort of experiencing it. So thinking about some of the sensual things, like, what do you feel? Do they put you in different clothing? Is there cool water? Things that kind of help ground us with that, because we have this distance. And another line I was going to have is, when she first shows up, you have the line, "I saw her descending from the ship like a goddess." And that just puts us at a slight distance. So now listen to the line again, where she descended from the ship like a goddess. Like, just the taking out the "I saw her descending like this." puts us, that's how I'm feeling. So you're wanting to dig a little deeper. And so, doing some research on kind of deeper point of view. And there are some things in the office hours on deep point of view that you might want to take a look at, because I think it'll really help kind of give you that grounding. But again, carry over from the first one, great concept, all of those things. The only other thing that I'll add, and I think it's a style choice, so it's going to be, I'm going to put it back onto you as the author, is you use a lot of short sentences, which makes the piece almost choppy. Whether or not you want to vary that sentence length and sort of paragraph lengths, like you have a lot of lines that are standalone paragraphs, that's up to you. But just whether or not you want that is something for you to consider, because with writing, everything's a choice. So thinking about what you want it to sound like and reading it out loud, I think is a really good way to sort of see how that comes across.
Mm-hmm. It's been interesting because that was something that jumped out at me as well, was a lot of very short sentences. And as you're saying that, Eileen, I realize it could actually be an interesting, maybe it would be a subconscious thing that a reader would capture or get if it is very choppy before the character lands on the ship, and then things smooth out, because that choppy can be, it's a little bit jarring when you're reading that. And if that's the state of mind, everything is jarring. And it would, if it transitions into longer sentences, it might feel much more comfortable there.
I think it would add to that feeling of sanity coming back together. Like you think again, when you're panicked, it's like, oh my God, sharp pain. Oh, I got a call. Like everything is really short, but when you're kind of in a different moment, you feel more languid and you're kind of, a little bit more relaxed, and your sentence structure can show that as well.
Mm-hmm.
So giving us that, or, having the character have a time to look around, like they're not being in pain, they're not being tortured, what this place looks like and feels like, and, the sound of song all around when you haven't had that, you've had only the grunting and things of these creatures, like how much more beautiful that must feel. So dive in and give me more.
Yeah, more. I'm going to go back and read the first part now.
There you go. And for everyone else, you give us more too. So send us your blue pencil submissions or your red pencil submissions, and we'll take a look and offer you our thoughts. Until then, everyone, we'll see you around the Academy. Bye-bye.
Thanks.